Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss anything like the one we're going to do today, because it's kind of, I wouldn't say educational, maybe entertaining, I don't know. But yeah, before we start, just do me a favor. Subscribe, like, share, even share it. Leave a comment too. But I'll give you a minute to do that, so go ahead and do that. Thank you for doing that. Thank you, I appreciate that. I hope everybody out there is enjoying their day, their week, their weekend, whenever it is, whenever you watch this, or even after your weekend. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Hope you did something amazing and you live life to the fullest. Let's do that every day. But today we got a little project. It's kind of like a how-to, but not a really how-to. It's how I do things. So I've gotten a lot of questions about my metal fenders, the wide body and things like that. And how do I do this is factory fender, but how do I do the wheel arch, and how do I get it to where it looks like it's a stamped part, to where it looks good? I don't know. So I'm going to show you how it is. I like working composite materials. I like doing carbon fiber. I like doing fiberglass. I like doing plastics. You can make anything out of all those. But there's something about metal that's primitive that I just love. I love the fact that it's like, it's old, and it's like, it connects me back with the original, how everything was. It's organic and it's primitive. So we're going to work on that. I got a fender cut out right here already. So cutting your metal, first things first, multiple options that you can do. If you have, I'm just in my garage. 90% of my projects that I work on is in my home garage, where I don't have a lot of fancy tools. So this is gonna be basically what you can do in your home garage or in your driveway, or if you're just a shop trying to get started. So we're gonna be basically doing with basic tools, nothing fancy, anything like that. Cutting your metal, you have multiple options. You have a tabletop shear that you can use. Thing with that is you waste a lot of material. You can also go with just a pair of hand shears. It's gonna kill your forearms, but it works. It's what you can do. You can also grab yourself an angle grinder, just like that, with a nice little 4-inch disc, and cut away at the metal. It takes time and it makes a lot of mess, but it works. One of my favorites is a shear, an electric shear or an air shear. It makes your cuts super clean, super quick. You don't have a bunch of mess to clean up. So that's what I use. So I used an electric shear on this. It gives your edges to where they're not sharp. You can run your finger down it without cutting yourself. So that's what I like. So once you get everything cut out, draw where you want your bends at. So we're gonna work on the wheel well. We're gonna get this to where it's a nice rounded area. So if you ever run your fingers through here, you're not gonna cut your fingers. You're not gonna cut your tires. It's gonna be nice and perfecto. So we're gonna work on that. I'm gonna show you how I do it with basic hand tools. Remember, disclaimer, I am not a professional. I'm just capable of doing anything I put my mind to. For years, I tried to get somebody to apprenticeship me and teach me metal fabrication, welding, and things like this. And I had a lot of silence. Nobody responded back to me. And the ones that did always said no. And I got tired of it, and I said, let me just teach myself. So what I do, probably I don't use the tools right. I probably don't do this right, but my outcome is right for what I'm doing. So even with welding, nobody ever taught me how to weld. I just started welding, and eventually it got good. And as long as you're structural on your welds, the beauty can come later. Same thing with your metalworking. As long as you can get your desired things, you can always make it look pretty later. So disclaimer, I'm not a professional. Don't take my word as end all everything. It's not. I'm just going to show you what I know. I'm not going to tell anybody no, that I'm not going to give them information. If I have information, I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share it with anybody that wants to hear it. So like I said, my outcomes are good, but my process may be a little unorthodox, a little different than usual. So don't flame me. Don't tell me I'm using something wrong. I'm just using it. So let's get started with this. First I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with just a pair of pliers. And I'm gonna start just pulling this and getting it bent over to where I can keep that arch shape. So let's get to the going with that and move on to the next. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just using a basic plier. You can use any kind of plier you want. And I'm just folding it and giving it the basic arch shape that I want before I go in and start really forming and shaping that. We got this part left to do. We've already run through here. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, it's getting there. So just your pliers, just get onto it and just start folding it over just like that. And you'll get your desired shape that you want and you're roughed out. So let me finish this up, get right back with you. Whoo! It's hot. We're in Texas. We are in fall, but we're still like 97, 100 degrees. So it's really hot. So I got my basic full. What are you crying about, dog? Rufio, you crying because you haven't been introduced? So we got Rufio in the garage. He got done riding his bike, looking out, enjoying, relaxing. His legs are wore out from his bike ride. But yeah, so we've got our basic shape already in. Remember, this next process that we're gonna do, it's gonna kind of bow the metal. Now, for what I'm doing, it's perfectly fine because I kind of want to keep the bow right here in the fenders. So if you don't want to bow, you're going to have to be extra cautious and make sure that everything remains flat, and you're going to have to do a little more work afterwards. But now we're going to start folding this over even more. This is where you can use it just a hammer, small sledgehammer, something like that you want to just kind of bend it over. I do have a little hammer and dolly set. You can pick these up, fairly inexpensive, still basic hand tool, basic stuff. So you can get one of these. We're just gonna start laying it over. I'm gonna use the edge of my welding table here, put that on, just start laying it over a little more, get a further distance onto it. So let me do that, kind of show you what I'm doing, then we'll move on to the next. It's gonna get noisy. Wear some ear protection. Save your hearing. You don't wanna be 45 and deaf. Also, when you're cutting metal, wear eye protection too. You don't want to be 40 and blind. So remember, ear protection, because it is going to get loud. It is going to be metal on metal, just hammering away. Hopefully, Rufio's probably going to want to go inside. But yeah, I said your name. You're probably going to go inside. But let's get to hammering. We'll put everything down first. I got Rufio inside so he doesn't have to listen to this. I got my hearing protection on. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, finish it out, show you the next. All right, so check this out. I'm going to use the edge of this. I'm just going to put metal right there. I'm going to set you down. And then I'm just going to hammer it downward so it gives it a little more bow. Make sure we're on the edge. Just work a little at a time. You don't want to go too far. Just do it in little sections. Is that up? So this is what I love about it. This is very just organic and you know, barbaric, but it's also very finesse and gentle. You just can't hammer away at it because then you'll mess up and hit a part you didn't want to hit. But I love it. So as you can tell, we're getting this to fold over more than on here. So it's just folding down. I'm going to start doing this. The rest of this, just keep hitting it in a downward motion. And because I have it on this, it's forcing it and putting that nice sharp bow into it. Then after that, we'll go with some dollies to smooth everything out. So let me finish up here. I'll get back with you with the next process. All right, hold up. Whoo! We're sweating. We are sweating out here in this just Texas blazing heat. But anyway, so I've got my nice little fold over onto it. As you can see, the metal still stays straight. Work it a little at a time, Got the perfect little arch going on. So now we're gonna start finessing everything. This, I get down on the floor and mess around with it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this dolly right here. I'm gonna put it on the back side of it. This is gonna be my edge, and I'm gonna start curling it over to give it that nice rolled fender edge onto it. Like I said, disclaimer, I'm not a professional. Nobody taught me how to use this stuff. Nobody was willing to teach me how to use this stuff. I had to teach myself. So if I'm using these things wrong, don't blame me for it. I'm getting the outcome that I desire. I may be using it wrong, but I'm using it right for me. So remember, if you're starting, if you're doing things, it doesn't matter if you do it correctly or not. It depends on your outcome. It depends on, you know, if you like what you do, you may not be doing it the way that's technically correct way. You can always learn to go the correct way. Don't get me wrong, but if it works for you, it works for you. Remember that. Don't let anybody discourage you from doing whatever it is you want to do. And if nobody's willing to teach you anything, teach yourself. We are in a day and age where anything is available to us. Remember that. So, on that note, I'm going to get everything down. I'm going to start hammering away, show you what I'm doing, finishing up, and show you that. So, stick around. Alright, so I'm here down on the ground, whatever. The reason why I'm on the ground, I like to put my body weight down here on this. It just holds it in place. So I'll jam this up to where my edge is here, and I'll just start hammering it in, and it lays it flat, just like that. So we'll work it all the way around, and then once we get that, we'll start folding it over. So check it out. Let's do a few. So as you can see, we're getting, it's rough. Don't get me wrong, it's rough, but we're just roughing it in. But as you can see how the metal is starting to bow up this way, for me, it's perfectly fine because I needed that arch for on there. So we're also gonna have a little bow in this way, which will match that. So I'm fine with. So I'm just gonna continue, go all the way around. Once I get that done, show you the next. 1, 2, 3, new. See, it's not that bad. So we do have that bow in it, which is perfectly fine. It lays flatter on that end, it's bowed on that end. It's exactly what I want for here. So it works perfectly fine. If you don't want that, you gotta put a little more finesse, make sure it doesn't bow on you. But, so as you can see, we have it. We have our rough shape. We have everything that's good. So what I wanna do now is finesse it, just make it cleaner, smoother, and everything will be all good. So with that, what I'm gonna do is the same thing. I'm just gonna put this here, and I'm gonna hammer over. Now, as you can see, it's gonna give it that rolled look. A lot of people, what I've come to see is there's a technique called putting a wire, it's like a wire edging or whatever. You take a pair of welding rods, you put it in there, you're doing the same thing. You're hammering it over to where you have that kind of like, it comes down and it loops and folds back up. It's the same thing. I just don't have welding wire that I can use for this, or that I want to spare. So yeah, so we're doing it this way. I'm gonna finish it up, get that whole thing smoothed out, and show you the end result on that. But it's coming along really quickly. Remember, this is a how-to, not how-to, but a how-to I do. So take my advice, use it, but don't think it's the best. There's probably better out there, but this is good for me. So remember that. All right, let me finish this up, all right? So We have it all rolled. Looking nice. Look at that. So every edge is a nice smooth edge. So we're not gonna hit anything, rub it, pop a wheel, cut your finger, whatever. So it's got a little more arch into it than I need, but good thing about metal, heat it up and you can actually form it back in somewhat. Whoo, let me take that off. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot, but it's all good. So I do have a really big bow into it right now. It's a little more than what I wanted, but like I said, I can go ahead, heat it up, maneuver it, make it malleable, get it flatter on that end where I need. More like just kind of maybe step on it. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but that did get me where I needed to be actually. So let me just kind of give it a few little steps. It's actually where it needs to be now. But once I actually bend this over, it will straighten out that part, but it's actually where it needs to be now, because I think it pretty much matches, almost matches that. That one's a little more flatter, but this is the gist. These are the two fenders I'm working on. Almost there, actually. So let's see if we can just, oh yeah. So that's good. That's really good, actually. I'm happy with that. But yeah, this is my little bit of information I'm giving to you guys out there. I've been told no more times than I can count, and I've been ignored more times than I can count. So I figure I've learned enough information on my own. I might as well share it with anybody, even though nobody's asking me. Maybe somebody can get this use out of this information. Like I said, disclaimer, I'm not a professional. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I just know how to get results that I want. Yeah, any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. I'll try to get to each and every one of them that I can and answer them to the best that I can. This is fun. Like I said, I mean, metalwork is just, there's something amazing about it. Something primitive that you can just take, like, it's the beginning of what we did. Everything that we did, that we do with vehicles, all started with metalwork. So this is amazing. I love it. It's therapy for me, banging on metal. Like I said, it's barbaric, but there's a finesse to it. So remember that. I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you, for watching. Remember, get out there, build, create, make something. Don't let anybody stop you doing from what you want to do. If they don't want to be a part of it, keep going. It's on you. So remember, you can do anything that you set your mind to. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Stay gold, stay humble. Peace.